Throughout Russian history, there are many events that happened in the 1920s that are relevant and helped mold Russia into what they are today. Many economic policies were implemented, in addition to a complete rule under Joseph Stalin. In early 1920, an important army commander for the Imperial Russian Navy named Alexander Kolchak was executed. During the Russian Civil War, Kolchak established an anti-communist government, and for a short period of time he was recognized as the leader of Russia. This title was short-lived because he was soon betrayed by his own white forces and killed because he refused to cooperate with the non-Bolshevik leftists. Later, in the year 1921, the Treaty of Riga was signed. This peace agreement was signed between Poland, the Soviet Russia, and the Soviet Ukraine, ending the Russia-Polish War. The agreement was kept until the First World War, which removed many borders across Europe. Further along in the year 1921, after the failed Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, there was an attempt to create a state in the South Caucasus region, known as the Transcaucasian Federation. This federation almost immediately collapsed, yet because of its failure, allowed Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan to become independent countries. Unfortunately, these states would not last very long. Later, Stalin created a new Transcaucasian Federation which allowed these states to remain independent, yet unify the economic system in that region. But just as the last federation, this one also did not last very long. Later in 1922, the USSR emerged, and this previous federation became known as the Transcaucasian Socialist Federative Soviet Republic, and lasted until late 1936. In early 1922, Vladimir Lenin created a general secretary and chose Joseph Stalin to fill the position. Shortly after Stalin was chosen, Lenin suffered a stroke while recovering from surgery to remove a bullet that was in his neck from an assassination attempt in 1918. Later, at the end of 1922, Lenin had a second stroke that left him paralyzed on the right side, and because of this he withdrew from politics, although remaining the leader of the Communist Party. Then, in 1923, Lenin finished his testament that proposed changes to the structure of communism and left a list of possible successors that he thought would do well after he was gone. Lenin voiced in his testament that he was not comfortable with being replaced with Stalin. Later, Lenin suffered a third stroke that left him totally paralyzed and unable to speak, and eventually in 1924 he died, and Stalin was accepted as new leader. After being accepted as leader, Stalin announced that he wanted to pursue a new theory of socialism in one country, but Zinoviev and Kamenev shared Lenin's ideal Russia, so the triumvirate split. Knowing that Trotsky was one of his biggest rivals, Stalin had him removed because he knew that he could influence the army and government to remove Stalin and make himself head of government.